Greetings, folks. Iolair here. I'm very pleased to welcome back Wes the Handsome to the channel. I have featured Wes several times before, and I'll leave links to his previous replays in the description below. And those of you who have seen some of Wes's matches know that he is a skilled cruiser player, and this match is no exception. He is sailing a ship that is widely considered underpowered. This is the premium Tier 6 Pan-Asian light cruiser, the Huanghe, and he is in a Tier 7 domination match here on Neighbors with no carriers in play, and frankly, there's only a couple of Tier 7 ships per team, so this is pretty fair matchmaking. Now, Wes is using a 12-point commander with a pretty typical set of light cruiser commander skills. Because the Huanghe does get the crawling smoke, he is using the smoke generator upgrade in slot 3 to extend the action time of his smoke generation, and he also has the smoke screen expert skill to help sort of widen the bloom of his smoke. So we started here with Wes landing a devastating strike on the Fubuki on the east side of the Bravo cap. So the Huanghe does carry 8-kilometer torpedoes, yeah, so he's going to use his torpedoes, I think, quite prodigiously in this match. He's starting to use smoke now because the smoke screen that was dropped by the Minakaze is no longer concealing him as it's starting to expire. And with the Huanghe being a very thinly armored and low HP pool cruiser, having a smoke screen that you can sit in definitely can help the ship stay in the game as long as possible. One downside of the crawling smoke is that if you exceed the 1/4 speed on your ship, you will come out of the smoke. And as my colleague Jimmy Jazz has referred, in fact, he's been fired upon by both the Bayern and the Warspite. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he took any damage there. But one disadvantage of the crawling smoke that my colleague Jimmy Jazz has pointed out is that it's a little bit you're basically dragging your presence with you. So even if you aren't technically detected, opponents get a sense for approximately where you are based on how your smoke is moving. So it has sometimes a little bit of a disadvantage, and especially when you don't want to be in your smoke and you're having to pedal ahead, and you'll come out of the smoke, but your smoke again will continue to trail behind you like we're seeing here. And again, this can give the opponent some at least some sense of approximately where you are. So the Huanghe is a ship that is generally widely panned by both the community and community contributors. She has only 6 guns. The reload is typical for a light cruiser, but the number of guns means that this ship has a very low DPM. Again, it's a very low HP pool with no health, with no repair party, excuse me. So it takes a lot of close management to keep the ship in the game. But it does have a couple of significant strengths going for it. So first of all, this is among the best concealed mid-tier and top-tier cruisers in the game. In fact, it may be the best. His current detection with the concealment expert and the camouflage is, I believe, 8.5 or 8.5 kilometers. This is the best, like I said, I think, of the mid and upper tier cruisers in the game. There may be a few low tier cruisers that are better concealed than this, but this is about as good as it gets. And that means the Huanghe can move around pretty freely without being detected. Obviously, destroyers are going to outspot it, but its good stealth capabilities means it can get itself kind of in and out of trouble fairly easily. Obviously, with the smoke can help as well, although his smoke isn't going to come up here for another minute and a quarter, and he is being a minute and 45, excuse me, and he is being fired upon by this Congo. It's going to want to bail out of here. This ship is pretty fragile, although it looks like he's just taking overpens. Another key strength of the Huanghe is that she has very good AA for her tier. So her continuous AA damage per second is not quite as strong as some other ships, like the Pensacola has excellent AA, but her benefit, or the Huanghe's benefit, is that her range is probably the best at tier 6 in the game at 5.8 kilometers. She basically has this platform of 4 double-barreled 100 millimeter dual purpose guns that sit on her stern. In fact, nice, he got all three of his torpedoes on the Congo, unfortunately with no flooding. But here we're seeing that, we're only, what, 10, not 9 minutes into the match, and Wes is already up to 73,000 in damage. Now, obviously, he's taken advantage of his torpedo systems, but that's a valid use of this. And again, with her very good concealment, and her torpedoes are 8 kilometers, so she can stealth torpedo if she does uh, what are sometimes referred to as sort of fadeaway torping, where you torp towards an opponent that's coming toward you. And obviously, if she's in smoke, she can stealth torpedo as well. So Wes is sticking around here at the Bravo cap, trying to sort of milk these opponents as they're trying to push down south. Now, let's go back to the tactical situation for a little bit. So the Allies are down significantly in ships by 4 ships, so that this Bisbee looks like he's getting pretty well roughed up. Is he going to take a torpedo? Sure looks like it. Yeah, yeah, he took a torpedo from the Vesteros. So now they've narrowed it to a 3-ship deficit, but they have command of 2 caps, and that has kept their point score very close. Do have a London here that's trying to poke around the corner. But this is part of the reason that I feel very strongly about an Alpha and Bravo strategy, because in my experience, it's much easier to be able to control Bravo from Alpha than it is to try to take Bravo from Charlie. And what ends up happening is what we're kind of seeing here, where opponents will kind of get corralled by the ring of islands that surround or are near Charlie, and they can get picked off one by one, and that's exactly what's happening here. Again, Wes is taking advantage of his crawling smoke. He's holding his fire here, I assume, to one, keep the London spotted while the London is firing, and he will only wait until he's actually proximity detected before he decides. Right there, he just got proximity detected. He sent torpedoes. I think the London's turning in here, so he's going to avoid those torpedoes. But the London is in a crossfire, and there's nothing that he can do. They're going to take down this cruiser fairly quickly. West continues to be proximity detected. He's using his hydro. He's detected these torpedoes from the London as soon as they've been launched, but they are able to take the London down and have successfully defended the cap. Now, they've also continued to lose some ships of their own, so there's still a 2-ship deficit, but the Allies have gotten a 100-point lead, and here Wes is leveraging his armor piercing to get, well, that looked like 4 citadels in total on the broadside Mikayan, which brings the ship deficit to just 1. So again, a very good display of Wes leveraging his concealment, his smoke, all the tools available to him. Even though the ship has a very low DPM, he's leveraging the AP against broadside targets. He's doing very, very well here. Now, he sent torpedoes here on this Congo that was moving quite slowly. The Congo looks like he's starting to accelerate. Yeah, we just saw some more torpedoes. I think those were from the Vesteros that just went by the Congo's starboard side. Now, Wes has made an interesting choice here to open up against the Congo, but he has gotten the Congo to turn. And that middle torpedo looks pretty good. You're going to get a hit? Yes, he is, with flooding. Not quite enough to sink the battleship, but he also gets a fire, and I think that the Congo is flooding as well. Is he going to get the kill here? Yes, he is. Okay, so he's up to 3 kills, and he's over 100,000 in damage, and we are just a little bit past, I think, the 12-minute mark here on this in this game. So again, a very impressive presentation of how to leverage a ship that, again, is generally widely panned by the community for being quite weak, but he's taking advantage of its tools and its capabilities to its maximum potential. Now, the Allies are kind of putting themselves at a disadvantage. They have 2 battleships right now. They have I believe that's a König in Charlie. We don't see how healthy he is. There's 2 cruisers. It makes sense that the cruisers try to work from concealment. They do have a destroyer who's staying in the mid and Bravo to keep the cap defended and keep the flank lit, which is good. He's in an excellent position. The challenge is the Scharnhorst on Wes's team, which is east of Wes over on the Hotel 7 sector, I believe. I think at this point the Scharnhorst has taken almost no damage, and it wouldn't surprise me at this point if he has not even used a repair party. So the Scharnhorst on Wes's team is the only tier 7. He is the top, top tier battleship in this game. This game was littered with cruisers. That is ideal fodder for the Scharnhorst. And if I had been in the Scharnhorst, I would have said, I want to be in my secondary build Scharnhorst, and I would have just gladly mowed down any cruisers that got in my way. Ooh, nice. Another Citadel, this time on the Königsberg. His smoke has just come up. He's taking advantage of that. And he also earned Confederate. Trying to get this Königsberg down that is slow boating. Is he going to take a torpedo? Sure looks like it. Yes, he takes one. It's not quite enough to finish off the cruiser. Now, Wes was using, yeah, he bounced there with the AP shells, but he is going to switch back to high explosive, but the Congo. I'm sorry, it was not a König, it was a Congo that was in Alpha. Now he has a broadside Furitaka. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is an Alba, excuse me. The Alba is actually a little squishier in a lot of ways than the Furitaka. Furitaka has some kind of trollish armor sometimes. Some pens, no Citadel hits there, but he got 5 of 6 shells on. This salvo looks pretty good. There's a Citadel hit. He is quickly erasing the health of this Alba. Another salvo out. Another Citadel hit. Not quite enough to finish off the cruiser. Another salvo. Here we go. Is he going to get the kill? Yes, he is. That's high caliber and 2 more Citadels. So he, again, hats off to Wes here. He is really holding things well for his team. And the Scharnhorst, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to make any personal observations because, I don't know anything about the person that's playing the Scharnhorst, but the way that the ship is being played, in my opinion, he should be front and center mowing down these opponents in a full brawl, taking out the Krasny Krim. Now, the Krasny Krim that Wes has here directly in front of him, he's firing AP, but he's getting a lot of bounces. I think, Wes, you really should be firing HE at this point. The Krasny Krim is basically a beefed up Svetlana. The Svetlana is the Tier 4 Tech Tree Soviet cruiser, and it's, in my opinion, arguably the best Tier 4 cruiser in the game, at least Tech Tree. But at Tier 5, this ship is, again, widely considered as a terrible premium. In fact, it's probably argued as the worst in the game. Wes unfortunately, his smoke has expired, and he is now in full detection range of the Krasny Krim. He takes a bad hit, really bad hit from the Warspite, and this next salvo, the Krasny Krim takes him down. And then shortly thereafter, even though his team had a huge lead, they lose the Congo. And then the Scharnhorst finally gets into the mix of things, but by that point, he's just getting focused. And even though the Allies currently technically have the lead, they've lost all of their caps. This is a few minutes later, and we can see the Scharnhorst is just getting finished off here. He's down to just a few hit points, and the Bayern secondary finishes him off. And then a few moments later, the time expires with the opponents winning the game. So, Wes, your performance was exceptionally good, especially for a ship of this class. Didn't quite make your Kraken, but I know that you kind of second-guessed your gameplay, especially against the Krasny Krim and the Warspite, but I think you have nothing to be ashamed of. This was an excellent outing. Also note the top XP earner on the opposing team, the Krasny Krim. So I really would have liked to have had these two players in sort of a dual perspective match between these two, quote, weakling cruisers. Thank you very much, Wes, for sending this replay over. I hope everybody did enjoy the replay and the commentary. And as always, we hope to see you out there in the virtual seas, and we wish you happy sailing.